You're listening to the Productivity for Profit podcast with me, Libby Knight. With almost 20 years in business, from big corporate to business ownership, the one recurring problem I've noticed and witnessed time and time again is how to be effectively productive in a way that doesn't feel pressured and stressful, so that the balance between work and life feels good. In this series, we're going to redefine what productivity means and explore why it feels hard right now and what you can do to change that, both through practical action and from your inner mindset, so that you're set up for a better outcome. Each episode will approach productivity from a new angle, helping you to make positive, long-lasting, feel-good change for better results. So, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur or leader who wants to redefine and transform your productivity, then stay tuned. In this episode, I'm sharing something a little different. What you're about to hear is a combination of 2 live sessions I recently hosted inside my private Facebook group, Beyond Limits, Reaching Your Highest Potential. I wanted to bring them together here on the podcast because the insights and conversations are just too good to keep in one place, and I know you'll find them valuable too. So, here we go. So this morning I posted an image and it was all about doing things differently. And I thought I'd pop on and just expand out a bit on that, because this group is all about realising your potential. And sometimes it's quite frustrating when we realise that we are continuously, we can look back over the last couple of years and think, why am I never quite where I feel I should be? I know I'm good at what I do. I put in the hours. I do all the things that I'm told to do. Why am I still not where I feel I should be by now? Why have I not realised my full potential? And when you understand how the mind works and how it keeps you in the familiar, you realise that the results you're getting is because you're consistently doing the same thing over and over. So most of our behaviours every day are on cycle, they're habitual, we do the same things over and over without even thinking about it. And when we try to challenge ourselves to do things differently, because we know that for different results we need to do things differently, we're just put back in our box, because our brain has to, or it desperately wants, familiarity. So when we try to challenge it and ask it to do something different, it is going to put us back where it is comfortable, because it doesn't like not knowing what's going to happen. So as soon as you challenge it and try and tell it to do something different and point it in a different direction, or get it to do something that your conditioning has told you you're not good at, or you're not comfortable at, or it's not for you. So for example, coming live this morning, this is not my comfort zone. And to do it, I have to reframe. Not I'm going to go live, because I will come up with every excuse not to do it, but instead reframe it to, what are my values? My values are to be kind. So what can I do today to help, to serve, to do good in the world? And that, when I actually take the time to reframe and rethink and think differently, I'm able to do the things that elude me, the things that I'm always telling myself I should be doing, but don't do, because every excuse under the sun gets in the way, because I'm putting myself back into comfort and predictability, because that's what your brain is constantly doing. So if you're wondering why you're not able to make the changes you internally know you want to make, this is not doing what other people are telling you, or trying to not be yourself, or not follow your values, or do things that don't feel right. This is about the things you do actually want to do, and you know would be good for you, and that you would love to change some of those existing habits that happen day to day, and stop making the excuses. So if you're finding that you've been telling yourself the same thing for so long and you just haven't been able to make those changes, start with a reframe and say, but why do I want to do this? how do I do this so that it feels easy, it feels good, it feels fulfilling? And that reframe, so for example, for me, is not, oh my gosh, I really should be going live. It's, what can I offer today? What can I do to help someone today? Because my biggest value is to be kind. And that's how I identify, is being kind. So how do you identify? What's your biggest value in life? How can you channel that to make the change that you want to change? If you come from that angle, you're going to want to do it rather than feel that you should do it. And it's going to be so much easier to do because it's coming from your heart, which is the home of your values. So channel your values to make the changes and to achieve the goals that you want to achieve and do things differently. And then you can overcome that need for your brain to have predictability and to know how things are going to turn out when you're challenging it and telling it, no, I want to do things differently. It's trying to put you back in your box. That reframe can help you to get over that obstacle, to get past that block that you've got that keeps putting you back into the familiar. So give it a go. What's your biggest value? What's really, really important? How do you want to identify? How do you identify? And channel that so that you can make the changes that you have been trying to make for so long. And let me know how you get on. So I thought I would expand even further on that and talk about the root cause of why this can happen, so that you can fully understand what's going on for you, and if you want to, make some change, because if we make a change, we know that our future will be more in our control. If we can adjust and reframe, we know that instead of repeating old patterns, we can create a new future. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So yesterday I talked a bit about how your conditioning has created a reality. That reality is what is familiar. So when you try to make change, it's very difficult because the brain doesn't want something new and unknown. It wants to keep you in the familiar. So it's going to keep you in your old reality. And that's why it's challenging to make change. So where does this come from? What is this conditioning that we talk about? So if you imagine when you were born, you were a completely blank slate. Imagine a wall that is painted white. There's absolutely nothing on it. And as you grew up, you were influenced by the world around you. You heard things, you saw things, you experienced things from birth. And gradually that wall, people started to write things on there. And you created a set of thoughts and beliefs. That would have come from your parents, it would have come from media, it would have come from teachers, it would have come from loved ones, it would have come from friends, it would have come from movies, it would have come from so many different angles. And unbeknownst to you, when you were young, your wall was filling up with ideas. So it was like people came along and wrote on your wall, and it was soon chock-a-block, all of these ideas. And as time went past, the things that were written on your wall that became beliefs, you would see evidence to back them up all around you. You can see this playing out right now in the political situation that we're in. You know that people are being imprinted right now with the ideas that they're going to grow up with. Some people will accept them, some people will question them, some people will reject them. But when children are very young, they are going to see the influential people in their lives speaking. Their wall is going to be filled up with that influence. And it's the same throughout our life and in school. What we believe about things like, what does work mean? What is the value of money? What are rich people like? How hard or easy is something? This is happening to us day in, day out, and we are building this library of thoughts and beliefs. And there are a couple of things here. Your thoughts and beliefs become your rule book. So if you're going to break your rules, of course it's going to feel uncomfortable. So if you have had an ingrained belief that whether you're conscious of it or not, that something is going to be difficult, or that you have a certain trait and therefore something's going to be difficult for you, and then someone comes along and says it's easy, Of course you're not going to believe it. You're going to reject that out of hand. And even if you question it, how easy is it to reject an old belief that you've had for years and replace it with something? It's not easy. It's really not easy. So this is why when we can start to understand what is happening for us, we can do something about it. So your wall has been written on by different influences your whole life, and you now have a chock-a-block wall of thoughts and beliefs. Some of them are sitting there and you don't even know they're there, and you don't even know how they're affecting you. All you feel is the symptoms of those beliefs and that conditioning, the difficulties, the challenges, and sometimes you are literally not aware of why things are the way they are. But you'll be able to trace it back. Not always easy. Sometimes you need a modality to do that, like tapping or hypnosis or some self-reflection, some meditation. Sometimes we need to create a space to be able to peel back the layers and see the real root cause, not the cause that we might at first identify, but peel it back and say, okay, so what came before that? What came before that? Keep digging and digging, and you'll have those aha moments. We don't always need to do that for everything, but sometimes when we have a real block that we can't clear and logic isn't necessarily working for us, then that's when we can go right back and identify the real root cause, and then we can question it. But if we don't know what the cause is, we can't question it and we can't make change. As I say, you don't have to do that with everything. Some things are quite easy to change, but there will be a few sticky things that are keeping you stuck, and that's when that work can really help. So can you imagine if you suddenly had a completely clean slate again? If that complete potential was back in your life, because all of those beliefs and things that have come in and have channeled you in certain directions or certain thought patterns or behaviours, they have reduced your potential. When you were a baby and you had that clean slate, you were pure potential. What would happen if somebody came and completely wiped your slate clean and you became pure potential again? Can you imagine what would be possible? And although we can't do that, it just makes you think, doesn't it? That those thoughts and beliefs are not facts. They are literally thoughts and beliefs. They are not facts. A fact is a fact. 2 + 2 = 4. Thoughts and beliefs are not facts by their very nature. So they are changeable. So if you could wipe your slate completely clean and become pure potential again like you were as a newborn, think about what will be possible for you. That's what I want you to start thinking about, so that you know that change is more possible than perhaps you thought it was. Perhaps you thought it was very hard work. By understanding that the thoughts and beliefs that you have are painting your future, because they are going to lead you. We can only take in so much information. So when information comes at us, we will want confirmation bias. We will notice the things that affirm what we have already believed for so long. So if you create the space, open your mind, and often when you re-listen to things, like if you re-listen to this in a year's time, you won't, because Facebook will get rid of it in 30 days. But if you did, you would hear it from a new place. So every time you hear something, you can hear it differently. So there is information out there that you have heard, but you haven't really heard. You've listened to it, but you haven't heard it, because it has bypassed you, because it didn't affirm what you already knew. So this is why it's so powerful to come at new concepts and learning with a fresh perspective, and not be clouded by your pre-existing conditioning that was written on that wall. All those things that other people imprinted onto you, that have shaped you so far in your life. But the old belief that once we hit a certain age, that's us, that's who we are for the rest of our life, we know now that absolutely 100% that is not true. We have the power to make the change, but the change won't come unless we understand how our mind works, and we can understand that our mind, our unconscious mind, is protecting us every day, and that our conscious mind is the one that has to redirect us, that has to make the conscious decisions, because our unconscious mind is already programmed. It's just on rotation. It's just happening by habit day in, day out. If you want to change your habitual thinking, your conscious mind has to come in and redirect it. It has to tell it something different. That's the power of your conscious mind. But you cannot stop the unconscious mind. It is running consistently, and that is what is keeping you right where you are and making change difficult. So think about the potential that you have, how that has been shrunk by all the concepts, conditions, thoughts and ideas that have been imprinted on you throughout your life, and take back control. You can do something about it. You don't need to accept this, because my conditioning and your conditioning and the next person's conditioning is all different. So it is not fact. It is not set in stone. It is not the one and only way. There are a million things you can think, but it's your choice. You have responsibility to decide the thoughts and facts that you choose to hold on to. We don't need to reject them all, because some of them are helpful, some of them work for us. But what about the ones that don't? They're the ones that are keeping us stuck and are stifling our potential. Hopefully that gives you some inspiration to think that. And I know it's hard. You're like, where on earth do I start? Space. Give yourself space. Start to recognize when you're feeling stuck. What is my filter, my bias, filtering out? What could I be missing? One way to do that is to never say to yourself, yeah, I already know this. I've heard this before. Never do that. Always come with an open mind and an open heart, and be curious and start to question. And then when you're really stuck and you're thinking, well, why does this one thing elude me? Why do I find it difficult to overcome this stuckness in this part of my life? Then that's when you might be able to seek some additional help, read a book, do a course or whatever. But first of all, all that learning is no good unless you understand how you are functioning, how you work, how your mind works. When you've done that and you can learn how to reframe, then the new information that you take in, oh my goodness, the power will be in that learning that you would have completely missed if you hadn't learned how your mind works and how it's keeping you stuck. And this is the way that you're going to start to unlock that door that feels like it's locked and impossible to get through and you don't have the key. This is the key to starting your journey to fulfilling your full potential and making the changes that will lead to the future that you've been dreaming of, that feels like it's either just out of reach or even not possible for you. You see other people doing these things, but you think, no, I don't know how to do that for myself. And this is the starting point. So if you've got any comments, any thoughts, anything come up for you, do share, because everyone can benefit from hearing each other's thoughts. I will continue to come in and share these concepts with you so that you can start to think about empowerment. How can you feel empowered to help yourself? I hope you enjoyed listening to these 2 lives from my Beyond Limits community. If the ideas resonated with you, I'd love for you to reflect on how you can start applying them in your own life and business. And if you'd like to join the group and be part of future conversations like these, you can find the link in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.